Alright, well, back to Skip Town we go. For a very short amount of time. I wasn't sure the others would accept another attempt to experiment, especially not Jack, true. I was going to have to risk it on my own. Girl still risking that biscuit. Alright. So she's not quite so emotionally confident this time. Makes sense. Thank you? Monster. Thanks, I think.
It was a compliment, more or less.
I still wasn't sure if I should thank him or not. Nice. Alright, and we're fighting. So, let's see, what are we doing? We're doing the I'm not being cocky option. I am not being cocky.
That stunt you used to look in the ruins was the very definition of cocky, Morgan. Do you have any idea?
I don't have any idea, Jack. If you remember, I have been a high-caliber Esper for all of a couple of months. I have had to put myself up against other Espers for even less time than that. I didn't grow up in this environment. I didn't spend years in training. I am just one person trying to survive. And to make sure the people around me do too. What I know is that people needed help and I could help them. What I did wasn't cocky. It was necessary. And sometimes the necessary thing is dangerous. I feel like we had this conversation, but Jack was on the other side.
Would you still be saying that if I was the one?
No, Jack. You would be the one saying it to me. Just like you've done before. Oh, she called him out on it. Let's go. There was the soft sound of someone clearing their throat. Kesa. He was standing a few feet away, watching. My face flushed as I remembered we were very much around other people, all of whom could hear us arguing.
Morgan, we need your help with this.
I understand. I cast a frustrated glance Jack's way as I followed the others. Oof. Rough. Rough. Even if Jack was upset with me. There was one moment I caught him watching me from across the small area. The look on his face had been unreadable. I knew we'd have to talk more later. I just hoped I could make him understand. Interesting. So his expression was different there this time. Instead of being like, I understand because, you know, Veli almost lost a loved one and stuff.
I knew you'd be the sort to want to make up by talking.
It's literally the only way to make up.
I can think of other, more pleasant ways to make up.
Do you really want a lecture about how other things just sweep problems under the rug rather than solving them?
You sure I can't convince you to make up without talking?
If we don't talk it through, it's just going to happen again. He sat up and groaned, draping his arms over his knees.
Fine. We can talk. I know we need to talk. Ugh.
I laughed a little, glad he wasn't angry anymore. I slid over to him, setting my head against the back of his shoulder. I know you got frustrated with me earlier.
To be fair, I was kind of pissed at everyone.
Okay, I was wondering if this was a slightly different talk. Oh? You only yelled at me, though.
Oh, I yelled at Veli for not helping me break that damn shield of yours. Tried to punch his stupid face, but Carrie stopped me.
Probably for the best. I hear he stabs people when he's annoyed.
Wouldn't be the first time. I yelled at Kesa for defending him. At both of them for pressuring you to look for everyone regardless of the danger. So don't worry, I got around to everyone.
I know you're just trying to protect me, but you can't always just yell at everyone.
I get it. I know. And I get that I have to respect your decisions. But I was sitting there listening to everyone tell you to throw yourself in harm's way for the greater good, and all I could think of was Sylvia. Kesa had other reasons for trying to get you here, but for me, I only wanted you in a place people wouldn't fling you into danger because you're a queen rank. And here we are.
I'm not Sylvia. Okay. I'm liking this new conversation, honestly.
Morgan, you're new to all this. And one thing you have to learn is that any of us can be Sylvia. No one is immune to this mentality we're impervious to harm. But we're not impervious. We always focus on the things Espers can do without thinking about the vulnerabilities we have. I've seen those vulnerabilities firsthand. And
He turned towards me, running a hand down his face.
I wasn't mad at you. I was scared for you and frustrated that it didn't feel like anyone else was. I don't know why someone always has to be the sacrificial lamb for others. I don't know why it has to be someone I can't lose you, Morgan. I can't survive that.
I reached for his hands, unsure if there was anything I could say to make it better. Because this issue wasn't just me today. It was the loss he still lived with every day. And it wasn't something that could be easily erased. Ever. But I have to be able to make those calls for myself. You understand that, right? I came here because I wanted to continue to choose my own path, not have someone else choose it for me.
I know that. I understand we don't live in an ideal world, and we have to learn to use these abilities for the sake of confrontations. We can't escape that. Even if we tried, someone would hunt us down for some reason. Just like this stupid Brennan guy. Being an Esper is like having a target painted on us, and I can't shield you from that. But it pisses me off that I can't. And even more so when others aren't willing to either.
All we can try to do is protect each other and understand that sometimes we're going to need to take risks. I realized this every time you came back from your searches looking more and more exhausted. As much as I wish you could take care of yourself, I had to accept that there are also people who need you to take risks for them. At any given point, we have to decide what an acceptable risk may be in that situation. I'm always willing to hear you out when I have to make that choice, but I also need to be able to make that call on my own.
I know you're right. I'm sorry I got mad.
He pulled me into a hug. That was a great conversation, you two.
But you're probably going to have to deal with me trying to keep you safe going forward. And that means saying when I don't find the risk acceptable.
Okay, but you don't have to yell about it, especially when my head is already pounding.
Fair enough. I won't yell. At you. Veli and the others, no promises.
And you have to admit I was right this time.
I admit that our options were limited. And you did what you had to, yes. But I don't like it. If I could, I'd make sure you could find some kind of old place to dig up rocks and ignore anything to do with Espers.
You know I'm not interested in going somewhere and digging up random rocks, right?
Yeah, you only like special rocks. I get it. You're a rock aficionado.
Archaeologist. The word you're looking for is archaeologist. He chuckled against the top of my head, still holding tight.
To be honest, I think I just feel guilty you even have to be here dealing with these kinds of things. When you were talking to Veli about searching for Rowan, I kept thinking you shouldn't even be here. You should be back in a lecture hall in New Albion learning about rocks and ancient cultures and history.
If I was back on the day side, I'd be in Braceil as a part of Endgame already, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
And there, I might have no one who cares enough to yell when I do dangerous things.
I will always care enough to yell. Even when I'm doing my best to not yell at you.
Just everyone else?
Yes.
I can accept that. Aw, that was so sweet. I think that was actually my favorite conversation they had, and this was in the sweet ending of all things. I didn't like the idea of hurting someone, but he had attacked me first, and if I was going to fight back, I wanted it to count. Is this Brennan? Brennan. Not just for my sake, but everyone else he endangered. Alright. With the searches coming up empty, it meant he was well enough to escape, so it seemed like my attack hadn't counted for that much anyway. That was troubling. Where could that boy be? Okay, so Case wants me to use my theokinetics. Sure. I can try, but he may be putting too much faith in me.
I wouldn't say that. He just wants you to check. He is not pinning all our hopes on what you see. No offense.
None taken. And if he really wants my thoughts, then I'll give it a look over. Jack pulled me close for a quick kiss. Sounds good. Alright, our talk with Brennan. Does anything change here? Yes, ooh, we go stubborn for this one. What's his reaction? All you did was make us hate you. Or at least see you as an enemy. You have to know that.
You've changed.
What does that mean?
When you came here, you were kind. But now...
Ooh.
That's how this world is. It makes you see everyone as enemies, even when you're the same.
Cautious this time. You made us into your enemies first.
Seems like that's meant to be my role. This is another thing those people forced on me.
I don't believe that's true. It didn't need to be like this.
What does someone like you know about what it means to crawl through the shadows? You think you understand it because you spent a few weeks in this twilight place playing in poverty while everyone protects you.
I don't
understand.
His eyes narrowed as he hissed the word, nearly spitting it at me. Ooh.
You don't understand. And you never will. No one does.
I could if you would just...
Morgan?
I started and spun around, relaxing when I saw who it was that spoke.
Who are you talking to?
I glanced Brendan's way, stopping when his image wavered. It felt almost like there was static in front of my vision. Well, that was a very non-productive conversation. I touched my eyes. Wait, was this all in my head? An illusion?
Perhaps this is for the best. In the end, I didn't want to fight you. Not anymore. I don't think we'll ever agree, but I hope we can at least avoid tripping each other up.
He started to vanish right before me.
Well, since it looks like they'll be here soon, perhaps I can be the villain for you one more time. I have a grudge against those people anyway. And after that, I believe it'll be good if we don't meet again. You can keep your little playground in the slums if that's what you want. I'll do at least that much for you.
I heard his voice echo in my head as he disappeared.
Morgan?
He said my name with uncertainty, fear seeping in. No, it's okay. It looks like he's gone.
So it really was him?
Yeah. How did you know?
I'm not sure. I just felt something was off.
Thank you for coming up. I suspect you may have stopped something terrible. Hey, wow, that was way different.
Hey, what's going on up here? Everything okay?
It's kind of a long story, I guess. Sort of. I'm not sure everything's okay. I figured out where Brennan was.
Hopefully far away, because we've got a big problem to deal with right now. Endgame is here, in Chestershire. Looks like they were moving carefully so we wouldn't detect them. We don't have much time to get ready. Come on.
Interesting. I don't think Rory was here. Oh, maybe he was. For some reason, I thought Rory wasn't there for that meeting. Edge? We had 2 queens, and Endgame had none. I wasn't sure how much of an edge it gave us. It was clear, as much as it felt odd to say it, that my abilities stretched the limits of how most people thought of Psy, and that I could do things that were surprising and maybe even powerful, but how helpful were those things when it came to a fight? Not to mention the general lack of experience. I didn't even know how to fight. It wasn't enough to have talent, you also needed skill, and in that area there was no doubt I was lacking. Jack didn't even want me to go, but Kesa insisted I need to make an appearance and make my ability clear to Endgame. As he put it, the court could no longer afford to appear non-threatening so as to fly under Endgame's radar. They already considered us a threat, so now we had to appear to be too much of a threat to mess with. On an angry day, I was about as threatening as a chipmunk, so I had doubts about how much my presence would help. But there I was, standing on an open street with the others, waiting for Endgame to show. Alright. Now we're back. What's the offer? If I just come over? Even if that's the case, I'm afraid I have to decline. I'm not interested in being press-ganged into Endgame under the threat of incarceration.
We don't make the laws. We just ensure they're enforced.
I'm no longer in New Albion, and I believe Delphine's laws regarding Espers are somewhat more lax.
We still have jurisdiction here, and you have been deemed a threat.
That's a half-truth at best. There's no way I'm the only threat in the court. There's a king rank and another queen. But you'll be satisfied with just me? It sounds like you want a queen rank you think you can bully into submission, and you're willing to keep ignoring everything else as long as you get that much.
That isn't what... You know it is, Caleb! You're putting everyone here at risk by staying. You know that, right, Leone? How about you keep your hands off her and stop trying to put all the blame on her shoulders? If we could do that, we wouldn't be here.
Okay, I think we're back after that nice little fight. And this should be our last choice. And it is. Cautious this time. And just out of curiosity. Whoa. For the sweet ending, this is very low. That's pretty low. Okay, I was curious. I never did that with the other 2. And now I'm curious if I had gone back and looked at those, how low they would have been. If I just go with you, you're going to ignore everything else happening here?
Not everything. We can't ignore that other guy. But we can leave the court alone. For now. They weren't a problem until you showed up and started flinging your Psy everywhere.
I wasn't flinging Psy everywhere. I was protecting people from that other guy.
That's our job.
Well, no offense, but you sort of failed miserably.
If you come with us, you can continue to help to deal with him. Morgan, you're not thinking about...
I was thinking about it. Or at least I was weighing the option. Jack slipped his hand into mine, squeezing. Aw, poor Jack. I could hear the worry in his voice, and I'd see it on his face if I looked at him. The pull to avoid a fight by giving myself up was strong, but there was something holding me back. And it wasn't only my feelings for Jack. The more I talked to these people, the more I doubted going with them was the right choice. I had believed in Endgame for a long time, in their mission at least, even if I had never wanted to join them. But now, the flaws in their organization were conspicuous and painful. None of the people on the other side of the street from us seemed like a bad person, but they were following flawed orders. And that made me want to be a part of Endgame even less than I had before. How was I supposed to trust them now? With my fate? Or with Brennan's, now that I'd seen what their methods were like? I couldn't help but feel they might make things worse. If I left, it would be a betrayal. Of Jack, of Kesa, and of everyone else. Of the court. Even if I believed I was doing it for them, none of them would see it that way. The thought of their disappointed faces. I couldn't stand that. If any of you bothered to look ahead at all, then you know the most likely outcome of this conversation. I can't go with you. I won't.
Well, you're not wrong. As soon as I saw you, I knew you'd say that.
I couldn't be sure that was the right thing to do, but my decision wouldn't change. If I believed going to them would help, I'd have done it days ago. Weeks ago. I think we might be back. There we go. Yep. Okay. Teleport tag happened. We needed to be careful here. If there was anyone I trusted even less than Endgame, it was Brennan. But why would he try to lure us to Pythia? I glanced Jack's way again and knew there was no way we wouldn't follow. Sylvia. If she had died back then, there was no saving her. But was it possible she hadn't actually died? Was it possible there was a chance to save her? Alright. I was glad, for his sake, that Kesa was having us go along, even if I didn't know what waited for us there. Alright, truce time. Let's go. He was a person we'd come to see as an enemy. It was difficult to imagine him trying to help us by sacrificing himself. I didn't understand him at all. He was a little upsetty spaghetti with us earlier, but still seems to be trying to help us? Yeah, looks like it. Looks like everything else played out the same. If there was one thing the Brennan encounter had showed me, it was that I did not have it in me to be a soldier whose job was to save the planet on a regular basis. Perhaps it was who I could have become. In another timeline, a future that just didn't come to pass. Yes, those. But it wasn't who I was now. In my heart, I was just someone who wanted to continue to learn. I was someone who wanted to look backwards so others could make sure future? The future? Maybe. So others could make sure the future would be brighter. So I was happy with the cover story that Kesa had given me, which was that his family's organization had given me the opportunity to come study the ruins beneath Delphine. It was only somewhat a lie. After all, with my abilities, I'd proved I could navigate and explore them. He said that, in time, maybe my cover story would become reality. Okay, this is probably all going to be new. It hadn't been my goal to study Arraean technology, but it wasn't a bad opportunity. Maybe I could help people make headway in an area that had been stalled for far too long. So I was looking forward to ensuring it became real. Who knew what I might uncover down there? But in the meantime, I was returning to university to finish my degree. It was an opportunity that made me incredibly happy. Mum, too. I had finally contacted them myself. With the threat of Endgame gone, there was no real reason to hide anymore. Magnus had also promised Endgame would ensure my family's protection going forward. It was in their interest to do so as well.
You've gone quiet again.
Sorry. I was just thinking about Mum and everyone, and their reactions to all this.
Oh? Talked to her again, have you?
We've talked almost every day. I had a lot to explain. A lot to apologize for.
Nothing that's happened was your fault.
I just wanted to apologize for keeping it from them. Remember, I may not have known I was a queen rank, but I've known about being an Esper for a long time. She wanted to know why I didn't trust them to help me hide it.
I admit the fact they would have helped you hide it makes me want to meet them more than ever.
They're a good family. Oh, I'm sure you'll get the chance. Especially because she is very determined to meet you. Jack's face of like, oh crap,
Oh? I am kind of surprised you told her about me.
Why wouldn't I?
I'm not exactly an ideal boyfriend, Morgan. I'm sure they wanted you to find some scientist or doctor type.
I dated one of those for 2 years, and he dumped me.
I can't imagine your family is thrilled about you dating some shady slum rat from Delphine.
They wouldn't be if that's who I was dating. But it isn't. First, I told them that when people started coming after me because of being an Esper, you saved me. Because you did. I also told them you're a bodyguard for the heir of the Fianchetto family. Because you are. And if you ever call yourself a slum rat again, I will... I don't know. Do something. Riff raff, street rat, I don't buy that. Or slum rat in this case. He does actually have a little bit of Aladdin energy now that I think about it.
How terrifying.
He grinned at me as he leaned against the railing.
I take it you left out that the heir I guard is also the heir of Crimson.
I feel like that information is definitely on a need-to-know basis. The important thing is they are aware you helped me, sheltered me, protected me, and they know how much I care about you. That's all that matters to them.
They should be the ones telling you that you deserve someone better.
I'm the one who gets to decide what I deserve.
I guess I should just be glad you have awful taste in men.
I rolled my eyes and gave his shoulder a light shove. You're such a pain. He smirked, that same cocky grin I'd come to love. I'm just sad I won't be able to see you as much after I move.
Well, Carrie is probably a better bodyguard for you than I am. At least for now.
Oh, we rooming with Carrie? Let's go. I'm sad that we're not rooming with Jack, but also Carrie.
She can stick closer without attracting attention. My face is well known in certain circles.
Okay, so I guess we weren't as close, so you didn't fight Kesa for the right to, move in with Morgan. Kinda hurts a little bit.
But I'll be at your place every chance I get. I usually stay at the mansion anyway. I've never spent this much time at Quartus before. And the mansion is in Pythia.
So you'll be going back to your old job now?
Yeah, I tend to stick pretty close to Kesa. And it's not that long a drive from the mansion to your place. He made sure to find a safe area for you.
I'm not sure how Kesa will feel about you being over at my place all the time. Jack grinned and pulled me a little closer, keeping his hands looped around my waist.
He'll have to get used to it. Not like I'll be living there.
For now. His smile softened when I said that.
I'd be happy to move in down the line.
Aw, that's nice. Yay. Good. I'm a little nervous being on my own again after everything that's happened. Especially being on my own again here in Delphine. Safe area or not, Pythia doesn't have the best of reputations on my side of the planet.
You're a hell of a lot more equipped to protect yourself this time, no matter where you are. And don't think Carrie's the only one who'll be looking out for you. Remember, Kesa works in Pythia most of the time too. I'm sure you'll be seen as quite a lot more than you think.
I'm glad. I leaned my head against his chest, a slight smile coming to my face. I have to admit, when I came here, I did not expect any of this to happen. I didn't expect this sense of normalcy to ever return.
I'm glad it worked out this way. I wish you could have gone back to New Albion, but I'm glad you're here.
I looked up at him, then leaned up to place a soft kiss to his lips, smiling when his arms tightened around me and he refused to let me go. Me too. I murmured the words against his mouth before he captured my lips again. And, as usual, we stood on the roof like that for far too long before someone came to find us. Before we went down, I stopped to glance one more time across the faint skyline of Chestershire. A sad but hopeful smile crossed my face. The future calls. The future calls again, yay! Alright, that was a good, sweet ending. There was some discussions in there that I really enjoyed, especially that last kind of making up chat that Morgan and Jack had. That was really nice. I'm sad that they're not moving in together, but I like that they left it open and very agreeable to moving in down the line. That Brendan conversation took a turn. But he still helped us out in the end, which is interesting. Yeah, all in all, a very good, sweet ending. Where would I rank that against the other two? Probably... It's close with Case. I think Ari still has a better sweet ending as well. Maybe I'm just biased with Ari. Maybe I just love Ari. I mean, sue me. Maybe that's all this is. Yeah, I was torn because Kesa also kind of had a bittersweet, sad end of she moved and was also going back to school, and the engagement was still a sham for the most part, but open to it being real in the future kind of thing, so. But I think State of the World wise, Jack's is probably better, so maybe I'd give it to Jack. I'll still have to think about it. Anyway, though, that was Jack's sweet ending. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now we got some bad endings coming up, so I hope you guys are ready. Hopefully you can join me for that. Until next time, I will see you later.